Hi, this is Jenna.
And I'm Heather.
And this is Conspiracies Unlocked. And this is a special episode. This is going to be the very first real episode of our book review and deep dive into the conspiracy book of 1984 by George Orwell. This book is broken up into 3 chapters, but each chapter has parts within it. And it is not an easy read. It is very hard. It's very like pause and go back again and wait what, because you're, especially the first chapter, I think, because they're setting everything up, and it's just so like a different world almost. I mean, it's our world, it's Earth.
No, it is a completely
but
different
it's
world.
Different everything. Yeah, it's like completely different. And yeah, so we're just gonna kind of summarize it and talk about things as we go through it. And I think that that's the best way to tackle this book, especially this chapter, because it's not so much a storytelling chapter as like there's not a plot or anything yet. It's just more setting everything up, and it's a really it's like what is it, 28 pages or something, and so it doesn't seem or no, it's only 19 pages, and it doesn't seem like that long. And so when I told Heather, oh, it's 19 pages, and she said, oh, I can get through that in like 10 minutes, no problem. And that was a lie.
Especially when I'm writing down notes and I'm highlighting, points that I want to talk about and interesting facts in the book. And then I have to reread because you're learning about the characters in the world, and there's things that I've never heard of before.
Yeah, there's a lot of new things, new words that we haven't like thought of. Like a lot of it's conspiracy, so we have ever since this book has come out. Like Big Brother is mentioned right away. Yeah. And that was never even in our vocabulary until this book came out. So obviously it's always been in our vocabulary, but for them they're explaining everything. And
well, yeah, they're explaining everything, but they have their own language, Newspeak.
Yeah, they have their own language. They have their own
definitions and everything.
Which is interesting because their language is like, I feel like it's still American, like English, but it's, or what, whatever, but it's like they combine words together. Mm-hmm. Mini-speak.
Yeah.
So we'll get into that in a little bit, but I think it's more like that than them being like beep boop beep boop or like something weird,
Beep, boop.
I don't know. I can't make up a
You just made up like an alien language. I love it. Beep boop beep boop. That's like warning, Big Brother is watching.
Beep boop beep boop. I don't know.
It reminded me of like a siren. Woo woo. Beep boop beep boop.
So the chapter starts off, and we'll probably pause the podcast quite a bit while we try to gather things so it makes sense, because we
refresh, rewind.
So it starts off with the main character is Winston Smith, and so he has been living in this world. I don't know if he really knows anything else yet. And he lives in something called Victory Mansions. So there are 4 different mansions, I believe, from what I understood. And they are, 900 feet tall or something?
Oh, so they're 300 meters.
Which is like 8...
That's 984 feet into the air.
And they're like pyramid type shaped.
Yes, they are shaped like, it says, glittering white concrete soaring up shaped like a pyramid. And there's a terrace after terrace. So they are just going on and on for 300 meters into the air. There's only, he's in one of 4. He's in the Ministry of Truth, which is actually his employment. And there's only 4 in existence in London where he works and resides. So yeah, that's what they are. That's what they look like.
Yeah. So in the first scene, we see that he's walking up the stairs, And he has to take the stairs because the elevators are broken because they are like preparing for quote unquote hate week. Hate week, HATE. Like, that's not okay. We don't know what it is. We still haven't quite figured it out even at the end of the chapter, but it just said that's just what it says, that they're preparing for hate week. So then as soon as he walks up, on every single level there is a big poster of a man, and it says Big Brother is watching you. So just you're always being watched, you're always being looked at. And then,
which goes into also what they describe in the book of the telescreens, where you're constantly being watched. Even low whispers would be picked up, which they describe it as looking like a metal plaque, and you could be seen and heard, and it's received and transmitted simultaneously. So even you're really only like free, so to speak, or have privacy when it's dark. And you have to just be very quiet as like a little mouse.
Yeah, just whisper. And the telescreen says it was still babbling away about pig iron, which we don't know what pig iron is. We never found that out yet. I'm sure that everything will be explained eventually, but for now we have no idea what a lot of this stuff is, so we can't wait to find out. And then they were also talking about the overfulfillment of the 9th 3-year plan. So they must have already tried 8 times for the 3-year plan. So I'm not sure. We don't know what the 3-year plan is either. They never describe it in this chapter yet, or this part. And then it also says about the telescreen, any sound that Winston made above the level of a very low whisper would be picked up by it. So as Heather said, it's just... you have to just whisper very quietly. But even then, it doesn't matter because the thought police are around, and the thought police can hear your like thoughts, and it goes off your sound waves, I guess. Yeah, somehow. No, it has to pick up off of,
It just basically what I saw is that it says the thought police can be plugged in on any individual wire. So any wire, it's like wiretapping in a sense. Like they can connect it to obviously the telescreen is part of the thought police because they can see and hear everything. Yeah. But if they have I don't even know if they have phones, but whatever. Because they haven't talked about phones per se. Yeah, I haven't seen anything about like a telephone or anything.
I don't think they need telephones because everyone is so robotic, and they have to be here, they have to be there, they do this, they do that. You call someone to be like, hey, I'm going to be late. Well, they're not late. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I'm going to come over. Well, they already know they're coming over because that's what you're supposed to do. You go to work, you go home, you go do these things. Like,
you don't have a choice. You do it very robotically, like you said.
Yeah. So I don't think that they don't really have free thought, it doesn't sound like. No. And then it also says that you did live from habit that became instinct, in the assumption that every second you made was overheard, and except in darkness every movement scrutinized. If you didn't do something, if you didn't go to work, or you were out of step at all, you were like, nope, not good. Like, no, they knew, and you would get in trouble. So the Ministry of Truth is where he worked, and
it was located in London, the chief city of Airstrip 1.
Which was the 3rd most populous of the provinces of Oceania. So we found that there are, I don't know if it actually said it in the chapter or if I just Googled it, the map, because I wanted to see what it was. Yeah. There's a map, and it's there's 3 regions, and then the 4th is like unknown. So like, what Oceania was, where London is now, and then it was also all of America, South America, North America, right? Yeah, and then Russia was a different one, and they kind of split up the map.
And then some was undecided. Remember?
Yeah, that was that's why I'm like the 4. It's split into 4 different regions, but it's not just like, oh, here's a continent. It's like, no, it's really weird how they do it. It's almost it's because Africa is part of North America, South America. So that was like one region, even though there's a whole ocean between them.
Yeah, and I'll put a picture of the map on our Instagram or
something. So you guys can see it, because it's just a picture of the world map, but like the way that they divided it isn't correct. Like, it doesn't make sense. But maybe it'll tell us eventually.
In the book, it'll probably start making more sense as we read more. Yeah.
Side note, did you know there's a movie that came out in 1984 about this book?
No. So after we read the book, we should watch the movie and compare.
Yeah, that would be really fun to do. So we'll definitely do that.
The other thing, too, that I was thinking that was interesting for me, and maybe you saw more indication of the time and the date and the era. So far, the only reference to any time period that we would understand is, in the book, it's referenced rotting 19th century houses. So there's like old houses from the 19th century,
which would be the
18th century,
which would be the 1800s
around.
So it's probably whatever's left over. It's then like they built rubble. These things, and it even says that he was trying to conjure up a childhood memory of before they went into this, 1984 style book place. And that he couldn't think of a time before. He couldn't remember.
I wonder if that has to do with the thought police, if they're able to, because if they're able to change the memories.
Yeah, that would make sense.
I wonder if that'll come up later.
Yeah. And then there were also bomb sites where the plaster dust swirled in the air. So obviously there were lots of bombs that made this happen, that made it get to this point. So there's a big
there had to be
war.
A huge war. Yeah.
Yep. And then it goes on to say about their Ministry of Truth is called Mini-True in Newspeak. See how they mix it together?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what their slogan is war is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength. Mm-hmm. So it's completely opposite than what it should be. And then there was other...
That's some serious propaganda right there.
Yeah, and the Ministry of Peace is actually... the Ministry of Truth it has 3,000 rooms, so it's huge. Like we said, it's 900-something feet tall.
Yeah.
And they are in charge... Ministry of Truth is in charge of news, entertainment, education, and fine arts. So pretty much the media.
Yeah.
And
that's where he works, right?
That's where he works. That's the main one. Well, not the main one, but in this book, I think that we'll hear mostly about the Ministry of Truth. The Ministry of Peace is called Mini-Pax, and it is about war. Mm-hmm. That's what their job is. The Ministry of Love is called Mini-Love, and it is law and order. And so I guess maybe judges, courtrooms, whenever the thought police are probably part of Ministry of Love.
But see, the thing about that is, as you read more in the book, there isn't really trials.
No, they just take you away
in the middle of the night.
In the middle of the night, nobody knows where they go.
You just disappear, and that's it. It's done.
It's like the movie, the Coco. The final death after they go to the cross over the bridge, the Marigold Bridge, and then they disappear after that. When people forget about them, it's the final death. So they don't even know. Nobody knows. Yeah,
there's your existence is just gone.
And then there's the Ministry of Plenty, the Mini Plenty, and that is economic affairs. So that would be like the treasury, But I mean, is there really any money involved in this? Because everybody seems to have. It seems to be so socialist. It's like total.
Oh, that word.
That word. Totalitarianism. Yeah, total. I have it. Hold on. Totalitarianism.
Wasn't that like the 26th
15,
character?
Yeah, whatever it is, 18, yeah. So, what's interesting also that we've noticed is that anything that you have in like cigarettes, they're called victory cigarettes. All the merchandise starts with victory. Mm-hmm. He goes to he left work late, so he missed his lunch in the canteen. So it's like, if you don't go to lunch or you don't go to dinner at the specific time, sorry, you're shit out of luck. Mm-hmm. And because he missed it, he just went home, and there was a loaf of bread and a piece of chocolate, and he reached up and grabbed the Victory gin and took like a swig of the Victory gin.
He's like, fuck it. I'm just gonna get drunk.
So how does he get his food? How does he get the gin? How does he get these things if you have to be in the canteen to eat and do everything? And that is one of the things they're not allowed to do. There is a free market out there somewhere, but they since they work for the quote-unquote government or in these buildings.
Well, yeah, he's a party member. So he can't shop there. He
can't fraternize with lower class,
exactly,
people. He has to stay within his party. He's not allowed to fraternize with those other people.
It's against the law for him to shop.
Yeah, so he has to do everything on the down low, very quietly, very,
But I did see also that there's certain things like shoelaces and razor blades and other items that they can't get anywhere except for the free market.
So then
everyone that is part of the party, they have to do this. So it's like kind of like, I feel like they all know they're doing it, but nobody talks about it.
Yeah.
And if you get caught,
or they really don't want you to, mm-hmm. and so they probably give you government issued shoelaces or government issued.
Oh yeah, maybe they're crappy and they break really easy or something.
Like something like that. So he ends up going to the store, and I think that might be why he was late for lunch, because he snuck off to the free market and went and bought like a notebook.
Well, that's where he found his the journal. Right?
Yeah, the journal.
Well, he used it as a journal.
But the journal, and he found a journal and then a pen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that pen was like with the quill and ink.
Yeah.
So it was like that also.
Because of the 1800s.
Yeah, like the era. I know it's 1984 and it's supposed to be how it's going to be in the future, but at the same time, everything keeps going back to the 19th century.
Yeah.
So
because that was like the last time that things were normal, that they were producing. So I think that producing new items. And so I think that what they were doing is just using up their old items. I don't think that anybody was actually like making new stuff. So it's kind of like what's left over, whatever they can procure.
Yeah, that makes sense. That does.
Yeah, so he says that the journal had really creamy colored pages, and it's probably because the paper was so old. Because our paper is white, unless in the 1800s they weren't white paper. I'm not sure. But whenever you see old paper, it's always like tan and cream and...
Yeah, and also another good point that I was just remembering is, let's say he did get caught with those items, he could be subject to 25 years in a forced labor camp for having those items.
That's so insane.
Like, you have a pen...
And you're not allowed to go. Because you're not allowed to have free thought. You're not allowed to think for yourself. You're not allowed to... do anything.
You can't write anything down. You can't have a diary just for your day-to-day mental well-being.
Yeah. You can't.
There is no mental well-being.
No. So then he starts writing, and he says April, what was the date? April 4th, 1984. Mm-hmm. And then he was like, wait, is it even 1984? We don't even know. And he said that he thinks that he's sure he was 39. And he thinks he was born either 1944 or 1945. But they never really knew the date, because there's no why do you need to know the date? Everything is planned for you. You don't have a doctor appointment at 10 o'clock on Thursday, February 18th or anything. It's just...
And the less you even know about yourself... And the less, it's more they can control you. It's just a simple thing of your birthday. Because think about when you go places, you have to give your birthday for a lot of documents and things.
But you don't need that, yeah.
You don't need that there, but I think it's just a way of controlling the population, that they just don't, they want them just to not know anything, only what they tell them and what they want them to know.
So whenever he has a moment like that where you think about something and you take a minute to think about something, in newspeak that's called double think. So they have a specific term for if you're going back to think about something, because you're thinking about it twice.
Yeah.
Double think, like a double take.
Yeah, double take. Oh yeah, double take.
Double take, but it's double think because you're thinking, not doing it again.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like take is more of an action word than thinking. So he then starts writing, and I'm not even sure what he's writing about. It's just nothingness.
I think it's just like his thoughts and his...
that he's not really allowed to have, and it's just... yeah.
It's just the fact that he's even writing in this forbidden diary with this, or book, with this forbidden pen. It's like, not that it doesn't matter what he's writing, but it's just like, it's just the part one just gives you like this eerie sense. Yeah. Like the whole time you see him that he's writing, it's just kind of like eerie, like, oh whoa, like it's so forbidden that, I mean, he'd have to be in a place where the telescreen can't see him, you know. What if they can like hear the sound of the pen or the pages turning? Like, how serious is this, you know?
Yeah, and then even just thinking and having these thoughts, and the thought police can hear you having these thoughts. And so his diary entry was, and I don't know if it was something in the past that he saw maybe when he was younger or what, but he saw he wrote about a lifeboat full of children with a helicopter hovering over it, and a woman was holding her like young child, and then
3-year-old, right?
Yeah. I'm not sure if it had the age, but yeah, a little I pictured him. Yeah, about 3 years old.
Yeah.
And he was like she was covering him, and then a bomb dropped on them, and everybody's like looking around, like watching on, laughing and stuff. So that's like how scary and how eerie this book is already becoming.
And the fact that they're laughing about it, you know? And then it rolls into the 2 minutes of the hate.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden he's going to the hate, but not the hate week. It's a 2 minutes of hate.
Yeah, it's like a mini hate. 2 minutes of hate.
Yeah, a mini hate, exactly. And so that's when we get introduced to O'Brien, who is a part of the inner circle, and then an unnamed woman that was with him.
Is that the Junior Anti-Sex League?
Oh, that's right. Yes.
With the chastity, right?
Yeah.
What you got more out of that part than I did, because that part was confusing for me.
So everybody wore overalls, and then they would have different pins. So his pin would be the Ministry of Truth. Oh. So that way people could just imagine, almost like what's that movie with Shailene Woodley where they're all like in gray clothes, Maze Runners or Maze.
Oh, where they have to pick it with the fire.
I think I'm getting that confused with Hunger Games as well. Like, but how
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
it's kind of like a mix
orderly,
of the two.
Like order. Yeah, it's like very orderly and like you're in this, you're in this, you're in this, but you guys all wear like
isn't this color, Divergent?
Divergent. That's what it's called. Yeah.
Yes.
Divergent.
Which are all great movies.
Yeah,
by the way.
All of them are good, but yeah, Brad really likes all those movies, so I always come in and watch. Like, I'll just pick up on some of it, but I don't. He's seen all of them.
Because that's where they pick which one they want, or which one they are going to be
right.
in it. Yeah.
And then once they pick that, it is a lot like this thing, because she has to pick, like, is she going to be a farmer for the rest of her life? Or is she going to do this for the rest of and then they wear, like, the gray smock. So that's kind of what I'm picturing, is everybody wearing, like, the gray, well, they say overalls. Yeah. So I just picture, like, very bland clothing, and then the only color or only identifying stuff on them is either like a badge or or sashes. So in this case, the Junior Anti-Sex League would wear sashes, and it was kind of like a chastity belt to know, like, oh, I'm not gonna have sex. I don't want to have sex. I'm not, because they didn't like have sex and have babies. They didn't do that. If they had babies, it was a very under very scrutinized situations and very like laboratory, like IVF or something. That's what I'm getting from it. But
yes.
They haven't really gone through that yet.
I'm sure that you're not even probably allowed to have a child unless it's approved. And
it has to be approved, like, for sure.
Yeah.
And like, why would you even have a child? You know what I mean? Other than to keep everything going, but at the same time, I couldn't picture him being being allowed to have a children. It's almost like they would make kids and then raise them themselves, like the government would raise them.
Like later in the book, it's going to come out they're all clones or something.
Oh, that'd be so funny. Yeah, maybe. So, we meet O'Brien, and they are now in the record department until the 2 minutes of hate was over. So everybody, I guess, had to come together for the 2 minutes of hate to watch the screen. And so it's kind of like wherever you are, you like whatever building you're in, you stop what you're doing, you go to this telescreen and you watch.
And O'Brien is part of the inner party, right?
Yeah, he's part of the inner circle, so he's higher up than, just the regular branches of the government. Sure. He'd be more like the president, vice president, something like that up there.
Yeah.
So then they're all sitting there, and the face of Emmanuel Goldstein, the enemy of the people, come up. And what Emmanuel Goldstein did was he was a quote-unquote traitor because he spread conspiracies, and he was then sentenced to death because he was like free thinking. So the thought police were coming after him to kill him, and he escaped and he went into hiding. They have no idea where he is, but he has followers and people, and he's a wanted freedom leader. So he just wants freedom, and his little, like, not gang, but whatever, his followers are called the Brotherhood.
Yeah, so the note I had was he is a leading figure of the party, almost on the same level of the Big Brother, which is what you were going with. Yeah, he's against this new world order type thing, and he just wants to be free, and so he is like enemy number one. So all you see on the screen is this man, and I am so confused if they were the way that do you want to describe what was going on, because I'm so confused on how, like, the shape-shifting that I was is that what you mean?
I saw it as shape-shifting. Yeah.
Okay, so
I'm just talking about the people, like, but
this goes with like the hate. Okay. I mean, this is all part of it. So when Goldstein's face appeared on the screen, it was his face, and of course he's going into his hate speech and everything that he says and does, but his face changed into a sheep, and it turned into this hallucination where it's like almost like, I don't know if the people watching it were put into some kind of hallucination or like thought, if they made, or if it was actually projected on this screen,
like they were hypnotized or something. Like really weird, and because they started to just attack each other and yell and scream, it was really a bizarre. And then all of a sudden Winston had this like massive feeling to want to hurt and kill that girl wearing the chastity belt.
Oh yeah, it went into great detail about how he was going to kill her.
And then they started to chant BB, BB for Big Brother.
Mm-hmm. And then they also mentioned the Shadow Army, which is an underground network of conspirators dedicated to overthrowing the state. The Brotherhood, its name was supposed to be. So the Brotherhood is also known as the Shadow Army. So if we say Shadow Army again, it's the Brotherhood. It's like, it's both. It's Shadow Army is the conspirators dedicated to overthrow the state, which is also known as the Brotherhood. So that's important, because they might reference Shadow Army and we might think it's two different things. It's the same as the Brotherhood.
And I also have a note here that the thought crime, it's almost like a Minority Report that I think Tom Cruise was in in like early 2000s, where you get in trouble, like if you're like, I'm gonna go kill this guy, you get arrested for just thinking about it before you even commit the crime, and you get sentenced as if you had done the crime.
Oh, even though you hadn't done it,
but you thought about it. So you
that goes along with the thought police.
That's the thought.
You can just the thought crime. Exactly. They talk about that in the thought crime. The thought crime is at night, they would come and arrest you out of your sleep and take you. No trial, no report of arrest. Your name would just be removed.
It was like you didn't even exist. Nobody would even remember you, and that's that.
Vaporized from your existence, and that was what was called a thought crime.
Yeah,
and,
So it was almost like...
Exactly
if you
like
didn't
that.
conform to what they're saying, what they're doing, what's going on, then you just cease to exist.
That's it. And I don't even know if other people would remember you. Would they, like, wipe you from everyone else's memory also?
Well, I don't even know if you're allowed to have friends, because what do you do with friends? You, like, talk to them, you have thoughts, but without that, what would you do?
So everyone lives alone, and they just go to work.
And then come home. And not allowed to have any thoughts.
And the only thing you can watch is the hate speech.
Yeah, like, or whatever's on the telescreen.
Yeah.
You don't have TV, you don't have any free thought, you don't...
Whatever they put out.
That's so not right.
Whatever propaganda they put out.
It just seems like it would just be so stupid to do that. Like, who would want to do that? What would be the purpose of that? What would be the life in that?
I mean,
for control, but why would you want to... What at the end of the day, what do you get from that?
I mean, the people get nothing. They just get born into it, and they just get controlled.
But even, like, so the big brother, the top of the people, even O'Brien, like, what is he getting out of it? Is he allowed to think for himself? So is there, like, a high ranking, like, if you're at this rank and higher,
I'm sure the higher ups
to
speak
do
for
whatever
themselves.
you want and
yeah. Why wouldn't they?
Yeah,
they're the ones that are making up all these rules.
It's just so weird to me. I can't... what's the motive? Why?
Money, power.
Well, yeah, power.
Resources. Maybe, the book hasn't talked about, like, what kind of resources. Maybe there's some kind of resources that they're, I don't know.
Yeah.
What, I don't know. Is everything electric? Do they have oil? Do they have, like, what? How does the world function?
Yeah, I'm not sure. So the 2 minutes of hate, I'm still, like, for a hate week is gonna be... And maybe that's how they control... That's probably how they control them and really, like, get in their heads through hypnosis. And the fact that they got so hating on each other, right? Then maybe that's how they keep them all divided.
Yeah, think about if all you can do is be home, go to work, and when you're home, you have to watch this, all week, and it's just... Goldstein's face shape-shifting, and it even shape-shifted from a sheep into a soldier coming towards, like, almost in 3D is the way I took it when I was reading it. Like, I saw the picture of what was going, what was being read, or what I was reading, and it looked like what I saw in my mind was... His face shape-shifted into a sheep, and then the soldier kind of came out 3D and pointed the gun at whoever was watching the telescreen.
Yeah.
And it was like, they're trying to put fear into you, so you're going to comply with what they want you to do because, like, look, we're going to kill you. We're going to come after you. We're going to get you in your sleep. Your existence is going to be gone, vaporized, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
No, it. Well, and then what I was having trouble because all of a sudden he's back writing in his book. He's back writing in the journal, and he just all of a sudden looks down, and all it says is "down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother, down." So I don't know if they're down, like if he's starting to get out of it and he wants to take Big Brother down, or if he's saying, "Oh, I'm down with that." Like, but I don't think that was a term in the 40s.
Maybe he's meaning, like, down with it, like, get rid of it, and wants to be part of the Shadow Army now.
Yeah, because there wouldn't be a book otherwise. Something has to happen.
Yeah, maybe he's starting to break out of, like, the trance of what they're trying to, the hallucinations and everything they're trying to control you with this hate week. He's, like, he's coming out of it, like, down with it, like, get rid of this.
Yeah,
like, this is not normal.
And then he writes, "They'll shoot me, I don't care. They'll shoot me in the back of the neck, I don't care. Down with Big Brother. They always shoot you in the back of the neck, I don't care. Down with Big Brother." And then he sat back and all of a sudden heard a knock on the door, and he's like, "Oh shit, they've already heard me. That was fucking quick. I'm gonna go now. Bye.
And that's the knocking at his door.
Yeah, there it is. And so that is where where it leaves us. That's it. That's where the chapter ends. So we don't know what happens.
Well, the end of part one.
Chapter one, part one. Yeah. So that was the end of that. So it kind of leaves us on a cliffhanger, and it sounds like it's leaving you guys on a cliffhanger too, I guess. So
I mean, who do you think was knocking at his door?
Well, he shouldn't have any friends, I don't think. So
thought police? That's what I think.
That's all it could be. So maybe we'll see him go into jail, quote unquote. I'm excited to see what happens. So we will. I can talk, I swear. We will read chapter 2 or chapter 1 part 2 and review it next Monday. We hope that you guys have a great rest of your day and think about all of this crazy new world we're diving into. Email us or Instagram us,
like, share, subscribe,
everything. Yeah, like, share, subscribe, Instagram, and let us know what you guys think about chapter 1, and if you guys read it yourself and what your take on it was, because it's an intense read. It's not an easy summer reading book.
I like it a lot. I do.
Thanks for listening, guys. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.